As some of you may remember, last week I made a list of all the Pokemon I have never used before, and you guys seem to really like it. This week I bring you guys the opposite of that list, the Pokemon I have used before. These are all Pokemon I have used several times, whether they have been used on a best team, regular playthrough, or even Nuzlockes. There may be some multiple Pokemon from a single generation, but that's just because I have played the specific generation more than others. I can't make a video on Pokemon I always use if I've only played the games once. So Sun and Moon are out. Before you scream at me though, I love Pokemon Sun and Moon and the Ultra games. If I had to choose some Pokemon I really love from there, I would use again, they would probably have to be Alolan Muk and Mudsdale. Alolan Muk is busted in Gen 7, and Mudsdale is super unique. Great games in Pokemon, but yeah, I think you guys know the specifics of how this is going to work, so that being said, let's hop into it. Starting off this list is a Pokemon from Generation 1 that you guys are probably used to seeing on some Kanto-related best teams, Nidoking. Nidoran male appears pretty early in lots of the games it is featured in, and it makes a pretty easy Pokemon to include in a team. In its Kanto appearances, it can be gotten before you ever face a gym leader, and getting your hands on a Moonstone is pretty simple in those games as well. Without even getting into just how good it really is, I think its multiple best team MVP awards proves a pretty simple poison point. Nidoking is tremendous, and it's got such a wide move pool thanks to the plethora of different TMs, and its ability to either be a physical or special attacker gives it tons of variety. You could go through several different Wi-Fi battles and game playthroughs using Nidoking and probably go a while before ever needing to repeat the same moveset. It's even got a pretty solid typing in Poison/Ground, which is definitely unique in a few ways. I personally love Nidoking a lot and always recommend using one if you've got the chance. Really, how could you not love a sheer force machine? The second Pokemon we'll be talking about today is one of my all-time favorites, being Ninetales. I've talked about this in multiple videos, so I'll try to keep it short and simple. I love the mythology of the Silver Kitsune. They're just so beautiful and really interesting overall. You all should read about them in your free time for sure. I also had the Pokemon Fashion Flash VHS tape back in the day, and I just fell in love with Brock's Vulpix in that. It was just so sassy and cute that I just loved the line from the moment I saw it. From then on, I've just used Ninetales as often as I could. It's made a few best team appearances, and it even got a refresh in the Alola region, going from a fire type to an amazing ice and fairy type. Of course, I haven't used that version of Ninetales as much as I have the original, but they are still both Ninetales, so that counts in my book. But yeah, I love these precious Pokemon, and I will always use them any chance I get. Next up, we have Lapras. Yeah, I think most of you could have expected this one. I mean, can you blame me though? Lapras is just so iconic, and I bet most of you have used Lapras at one point or another. It's a quintessential surfing Pokemon that I really believe all Pokemon fans, young or old, have thought about how cool it would be to ride on one of them. But it's not just cool looking, it's actually pretty useful. It has great stats and a wide move pool to choose from, so it can really fit on any team when it's available in a region. I mean, you guys obviously know that's the case, as Lapras is one of the most common best team members. I would even dare say it's appeared the most out of any recurring Pokemon on the best team series, although I'm not too sure. If you guys happen to know which Pokemon has appeared the most, definitely let me know in the comments below. Anyways, back to the Pokemon at hand. Lapras is just amazing, and I don't have much else to say about it. It's great looking and great to use, and since it's available in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I wouldn't be surprised if I end up using it in Galar too. I think you guys know my favorite starter of all time is Chikorita. I think you guys know I have used a starter like almost every single time I've ever played through Johto. I've explained several times how much I love the Chikorita line. I've even done a Meganium Solar run before too in Pokemon Silver, and I don't recommend it. Against Lance, let's just say it's a hellhole. I know people don't really like the line of Meganium, but I really do. It's such a cute line, and I love how underrated it is. Meganium also doesn't have a lot of attacking power, but I really enjoy using Toxic Stall and Synthesis with it. It really makes me enjoy annoying the NPCs. I just love using a bad Pokemon everyone hates, and Meganium fits in that category. Mostly very similar to how Torterra fits into mine. Coming right at the center of this list, we have one of the cutest Pokemon of all time, Bellossom. I first saw this Pokemon in the Pikachu's Rescue Adventure short film from the Power of One movie. The little dance a group of them did was just utterly adorable, and I've loved it ever since. So much that I try to use it as often as possible when I'm just trying to do a relaxing playthrough of any game that it might appear in, or even when I'm doing a Nuzlocke. Now, Bellossom isn't the easiest Pokemon to use, as it isn't super good, if I'm being 100% honest. Yeah, it has pretty okay stats for the most part, but it's unbearably slow and doesn't really have the greatest selection of moves to choose from. But as I just talked about Chikorita, just because a Pokemon isn't the strongest in the world doesn't mean it should never be used. The interactions you have with the Pokemon can really deepen your love for it, and I think that's what makes the best playthroughs. A team of 6 with Pokemon that always brings a smile to your face when you use them. I can honestly say that it was a huge relief that the Oddish line made it into the Galar region. It would have been a very sad day for me if I wasn't able to use it in Galar, so I'm super happy that they made the cut. What kind of list would this be if I didn't include the evolutions on this list? I kid you guys not, I have used all the evolutions on my team more than once. Some of you are probably asking, how did you use Glaceon or Leafeon? Easy. I traded them to a beat copy of a game that had access to the Mossy Rock and Icy Rock. All the evolutions are equally cute, they have great stats, unique traits about each of them, and so much more. Even for Sylveon, I technically used one more than once too. I used it on an X and Y playthrough a few years ago, and even recently I used it in my first playthrough of Pokemon Ultra Moon. What's cool about this Sylveon too was that I actually found a shiny Eevee while SOS chaining for it. It was 100% worth it because Sylveon shiny is so great. I mean, all the evolution shiny forms are amazing, so. Coming up next is the waifu Pokemon Gardevoir. I can't tell you guys how many times I've played through the Hoenn games and I've used Gardevoir. Before the fairy typing, Gardevoir was still one of the best psychic Pokemon you could ever have on a team. Let me tell you too, it is also one of the best non-trade evolution psychic Pokemon you can get. Everything about Gardevoir is great, and it gets even greater in the 6th generation where the fairy typing was given to it. The fairy typing given to Gardevoir helps it out so much of being able to take care of the dark type weakness. Don't get me started on the Mega Evolution in shiny form too. Hyper Voice Pixelate is insane. Unfortunately, I've never used Hyper Voice Pixelate in an in-game playthrough, but I have used Moonblast and it performed very well. Gardevoir is great design-wise, stat-wise, move-wise, it's just the definition of a perfect Pokemon. In Generation 4, there were a series of Pokemon introduced that acted as evolutions to a few of the 386 Pokemon prior that were desperately in need of one. This Pokemon is one of those evolutions, and definitely the one I use the most. Roserade. Roserade is a grass poison type that evolves from Roselia using a shiny stone, a new item that was introduced in Generation 4 to also help evolve Togetic and the Togekiss. Roserade took a decent Pokemon in Roselia and gave it so much better stats, bumping up the special attack and special defense to 125 and 105 respectively. When it comes to taking advantage of its stab, Roserade really gets a great grouping of moves to choose from, including Giga Drain, Energy Ball, and Sludge Bomb. When using it in-game, it honestly serves as such a superb option when it comes to needing a special attacker. Plus, if not just for how good it is in-game, it's also a really cool looking Pokemon in general. It's pretty clear that its name comes from a mixture of Rose and Masquerade, and that really helps explain how dope its design truly is. It's basically a walking rose wearing a mask. Could you imagine a totem pole just following you around by flapping its odd wings and probably doing psychic things to your brain? Well, if you can, then more than likely a Xatu is following you, so you should turn around and ask it to leave you alone because it sucks. However, if you were being followed by a Pokemon like Sigilith, well, you'd be in luck. See, Sigilith is an incredibly awesome Pokemon, and one that I use quite often. It was introduced in Generation 5, and if you noticed, it has appeared in the Black and White best teams multiple times. A super diverse move pool really makes it an impressive Pokemon in its own right, but it takes major advantage of both its psychic and flying typings. If you look back at the best team for psychic type videos as well, you'll probably recall I even featured it there. Using it on the best team showed off the cerebral side of its actions, employing an easy to set up cosmic power, stored power, psycho shift strategy that can cause so many problems for people that don't know how to respond to it. Sigilith is a jack of all trades, looking awesome, and is really just a Pokemon I wish I was able to use in every generation. And the Pokemon I've decided to wrap this list up with is the pseudo-legendary from Kalos, Goodra. While this might be one of the most basic pseudo-legendary Pokemon ever introduced in the Pokemon series, I can't help but love it. It's got a really fun move pool of great moves like Sludge Wave, Power Whip, Ice Beam, and Fire Blast. What it lacks in complexity, it makes up for in diversity. I just love the concept for it too. It starts off as Gumi, the weakest of all dragon Pokemon, then it evolves into this absolutely bizarre snow creature. And then to evolve it, you have to wait for it to rain, really adding to its uniqueness. The grind of leveling up and then waiting for the rain was actually really fun, and one of the best parts about getting a Goodra. You're then greeted by this adorable slimy snow dragon thing, and you're just amazed that it went from this to this. And don't even get me started on Ash's Goodra in the anime. I just might shed a tear. There are just so many great things about this Pokemon, it's just hard to not use it when I can. Aside from the evolutions, this line has to be one of the ones I'm most excited about making a return in Sword and Shield, and I look forward to using it again real soon. Well, there we have my list of Pokemon that I always use in a Pokemon playthrough. A lot of these Pokemon probably didn't surprise you all that much thanks to the Best Team series, but I do have my own personal playthroughs that you all have never seen, so I'm hoping that there were a couple that may have surprised you. And just maybe, the list of Pokemon will encourage you to give some of these Pokemon a try in the future. They might not be all Uber tier Pokemon, but they are Uber tier in my heart. Well, that was corny. Anyways, what'd y'all think of my list? Are there any on here that you also use? If not, what are Pokemon that you use all the time? Definitely let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on. That way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weez Austin, and Sudden Grider did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrand, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.